I imagine there's no easier sell on a role than being told you get to act alongside Morgan Freeman.
Yeah, I mean, that is definitely a big part of it. When I first learned about this project, both Morgan Freeman and Juliette Binoche were attached to it, and those are two of my favorite actors. I think for a lot of people who watch movies, those are two phenomenally talented and respected actors. And yeah, to have the opportunity to be able to play with them is definitely a pretty amazing thing. And then on top of that, I also very much liked the script too. It's something that I had heard about while I was working on another project, and I was able to kind of finesse access to that script to be able to learn what was this thing that people had been speaking about. And I was really impressed by it, and essentially pursued the project to be able to be a part of it.
Awesome. And, it's such a fun dynamic between your character and Morgan's character. He's kind of your mentor, and he just seems like he had the most fun in this role. He's ranting about your character, he's dropping some F bombs. You've worked with so many great actors, but that had to be a bit surreal, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's funny. It's like when you're working on a project like this, you've got these really tight schedules, these tight budgets, and you're working quick and you're working efficiently. And so much of the time when you're on set, you're just figuring out what you're going to do next. And along the way, you get so few opportunities to be able to actually take a step back and appreciate what you're doing. And every long once in a while, we would have a break between setups or something like that. And I got to actually be like, holy shit, I'm on set with Morgan Freeman right now. But so much of what was incredible was just being able to, trade these words with him and to watch him. There's something in his eyes that really activates as soon as action is called. And there's a presence and an unpredictability and a aliveness to his performance that is pretty staggering upon seeing within a scene in person. Yeah, that was pretty amazing. And obviously, you have to see that and admire it, and then throw that away and not be a tourist and actually try to bring something yourself and perform alongside somebody that you really respect like that.
So you're playing special agent, and you're combating human trafficking, which sadly is such a real and serious issue. What sort of prep did you do for this role?
Yeah, so I knew only the bare minimum about sexual slavery and human trafficking prior to working on this project. I was very thankful that Anna, the writer director of this project, had done a fair amount of research while she was shooting this, and then prior to it, while she was writing it as well. And so she had a number of resources and statistics for me to be able to look at and to understand. And the second you start doing any reading about this, you realize just how dire the situation is. I don't know if we know in the United States just how bad it is. And it's something that is shocking and a bit hard to process. But I did a fair amount of reading from what she sent me, and then there was also some resources that I was able to find out about. There's a lot of great charities, from Not for Sale to Thorn to a number of others, and they have a fair amount of resources and reading. But also there was a podcast by a former FBI agent. Her name is Jerry Williams, I believe. And she had a couple interviews with FBI agents who specifically had specialized in the same department that my character had. And it was really interesting and informative to hear about how they spoke about it. I had to admire that. It's like with anything like this, these systems are systems, and they are unfortunately procedural and how they have to deal with these things. You know, when you're dealing with it on the scale, there has to be a rule book and a guide of some sort to be able to follow. But what I appreciated about these officers was that they always spoke about these victims as people, and they understood that these kids were kids and they hadn't lost that focus and they hadn't become so hardened to it that they weren't able to understand um, the individuality of each one of these lives that are in these systems. And I thought that that was really interesting, and it was something that I saw in the script of Paradise Highway as well, where it didn't lose the human element of the story and didn't just become about um, you know the concept of human trafficking, but instead was about the specific humans within it.
Yeah, and the film really does a good job of, underlining that. There's a great moment where you're talking to Morgan and you're like, "Wow, you still get this worked up about it." And he's like, "Yeah, these are kids." And really impactful scenes there. And you've got some really exciting stuff coming up. Star Wars Jedi Survivor finally got announced, and when you see that title of Survivor, what does like that word really conjure up in your mind, and how would you relate it to Cal's journey thus far?
Yeah, I mean, Cal most certainly is a survivor. You know, he is someone who lived through a genocide, a purging of people from his kind, and has been living in hiding for most of his life. To me, a survivor is someone who um, is able to persist in the face of extraordinary odds. And I think that that's a lot of what our story is about. We see Cal challenged in ways that we haven't seen him challenged before, and it brings him to moments that are more difficult than anything that his character has faced. And without giving anything away, I think that it leads to some very interesting questions for Cal, as well as just for this universe in general.
Yeah, the short teaser that was shown looks incredible, and it looks like, we are getting a darker direction, which I know you were excited to explore. And how, just satisfying is it that you're getting this second game to really flesh out Cal more and just get into him as deeply as some of the other great Jedis in Star Wars?
Yeah, I think it's really exciting. It's exciting to see how this character is going to shift over time. Watching this character develop is something that's really interesting. This game takes place about 5 years later than what the first one does, and also over the course of this story, we see Cal really change in a lot of very interesting ways, and that was a joy to be able to explore with this character. He is a really unique person in this world, and I think that that is something that gets communicated in the story in a way that I think is going to be really interesting and morally complex as well.
And then my last question, real quick. I saw that this marks your 20th year of acting, which just blew my mind. What's it like being such a veteran at such a young age? I'm sure you're still learning, but like that's a lot of experience to draw from.
Yeah, yeah. I was 8 years old when I shot my first movie, and yeah, I'm 28, soon to be 29 now. Um, it is it's interesting. It's interesting. I think that there's never a moment when you stop learning. And I'm very lucky that there's never been a point in my life where I haven't had a love and an admiration for my job. I feel very, very, very lucky to be able to do it and to be able to live from it. It's an amazing opportunity and something that I don't take lightly. But your process changes over time, and I've been very much enjoying where my curiosities and where I've been wanting to learn in my recent past has been taking me. I think that it's important when you do something for a long time to keep reinventing and to pivot. And that's something that I've been focusing on in the last year. And I can't wait to see where that takes me.